For years, escaping North Korea was extremely dangerous, but it was still happening at a steady pace, with thousands of people managing to flee every year, crossing into China and eventually reaching safety. And by the late 2000s, the numbers were actually increasing, peaking at nearly 3,000 escapees in a single year, which shows that despite the risks, there were still cracks in the system that people could exploit. But then something changed, and the number of people escaping didn't just slowly decline, it suddenly collapsed. By 2019, over 1,000 people were still escaping annually, but in 2020, that number dropped to just over 200, then fell even further to barely over 60 the following year. And even today, the numbers have only partially recovered, staying far below what they once were. So the real question is, what changed so dramatically that an already difficult escape became even rarer almost overnight? The first part of the answer is the border itself, because North Korea's northern boundary with China used to be the main escape route, a long river that, while monitored, still had weak points. But in recent years, that border has been heavily reinforced with fences, increased patrols, and stricter enforcement, making it far harder to cross undetected. But that alone doesn't explain the sudden collapse, because the biggest shift actually happened inside the country, where surveillance and internal control intensified, making it harder for people to even attempt an escape in the first place. Movement between cities became more restricted, communication more tightly monitored, and entire communities more closely watched, reducing the ability to plan or coordinate anything without being noticed. And then came the turning point that accelerated everything, the COVID-19 pandemic, which led North Korea to effectively seal its borders almost completely, not just to outsiders, but to its own people trying to leave. This didn't just block physical escape routes, it also disrupted the underground networks of smugglers and intermediaries that many defectors relied on, cutting off the systems that made escape possible at all. At the same time, China increased enforcement along its side of the border, making it even more dangerous for those who did manage to cross, since being caught often meant being sent back.